Hey family, thank you for joining us again. We are doing our latest episode on Last of the Millennials. We're probably right. And I am your co-host, Kendra Rochelle.
I'm Farrelly Speaks.
And I'm Kelsey.
All right, and so this week we're going to be talking about millennials and sexual taboos, and we have joining us is Sex with Ashley creator, to Ashley Cobb, and we will be talking about all of the things that you don't know about and the things you do know about.
So good afternoon and welcome, Ashley. So today we want to talk about some millennial taboo, sexual fantasies, pleasures, all the things in between. So in this new world of self-pleasure, I want to dive into some sexual taboos. So I'll say from a vintage standpoint, some people think that sexual taboos are, having sex, women having bodily hair, what else? Anal, spitting. But now that we know that because people are getting more in tune with themselves, they are branching out more into a sexual exploratory space. So in my vanilla nature, tell me some ideas or what you would consider a sexual taboo as a millennial.
There's a lot of things that could be considered sexual taboos. I think BSM for some people, and that covers a wide range of different things. And then you have like group sex, and that's one. People going to sex clubs can be a taboo. Stuff like basic stuff for some people, like sex toys for men. You wouldn't think that was a taboo, but that is. Like, a lot of men don't use sex toys. They when you bring it up, they're like, "Oh, no, we don't do that."
So when you're saying sex toys, you mean using the sex toy on them, like a woman pleasuring. Most of the time when we go to sex stores, it's the man accompanying the woman for an apparatus or a tool to be used on her. But in this sense, it's a taboo for us to go shopping for you to get used on, is what you're saying.
Right. Like a lot of men don't like to use sex toys or have them used on their person, and then they have male specific sex toys that are made for penis owners. And like a lot of, I know, white people tend to be, a little more open. So white men are using these toys, but the black men, they have yet to come around to using some of these penis toys, or like having toys on them. I've had people that I've seen had sex with, whatever you want to call it, who didn't like toys. These are grown ass men, 40 plus, and who was like, "No, I don't like toys. I mean, I'm not using them on me. I don't use them on you, but like, you can't use them on me." Like, it's a whole thing with some black men. So that's like a real taboo. That's not anything that's extreme at all.
Oh wow! So let's get into a more extreme taboo, so to say.
Extreme. There's a lot of kinks and things. Like there was I met this person who was into munting. Like, that's a whole different taboo. What that is like, where you jump on a dead person. And
sorry, we just can't slide through that. You said jump on a dead person.
You get on top of a dead body.
And it's called what again? Munting?
It's called munting. It's a kink. So you get on top of a dead body, and then you jump up and down on it. I don't know
can I raise my hand for a small question here?
Yes.
Munting. In today's society, we don't just have access to dead bodies.
Correct.
Well, you have to dig it up.
Or, the person who was doing this, I don't know if they were like working in a morgue or funeral home or whatever. Or I know the person that they wanted, this woman who was an escort, this is what someone asked her to do. But she played dead. So there's people who like people to play dead so they can fulfill their sexual fantasies. So you have things like people like do rape fantasies. So you have the whole dead fantasy too. So that's like the extremist thing I think I've ever heard about at
Well, because that was taking me into the legal jargon of that is molestation of a corpse, violation of a corpse.
You can't molest a corpse, it's dead.
You're going to jail for it.
So here is a definition. Okay, munting is a variation of necrophilia involving 2 live people and 1 dead, whether it's male or female. To munt, you find and dig up a semi decomposed corpse. One person then goes down on said corpse, whilst the other jumps on the dead person's stomach, causing the juices, the decomposed organs, to be forced from all orifices. These are then drank by the person orally connected to the corpse.
And people do this.
And I'm going to yuck that yum because that...
You said we weren't doing that.
That's nasty.
I remove that.
It's there's not too many things that I've heard about that like surprised me. When someone told me that, I was like, oh, that's nasty. And this was, our less melanated brothers and sisters who I had this conversation with. And I was like, yeah, that's different.
They must be so far along in their pleasure spectrum when you get to dead corpses. Like you've exhausted every other thing, or is that not true?
I put them in the same category of people who have sex with animals. Like sometimes I just can't wrap my mind around. Like why are you molesting a dog when you have perfectly good people who walk the earth every day? I don't know. I think some people are just, I don't want to say nasty, but are just,
we can say nasty.
They just look look different. I'll say that.
Okay. So are there more? So clearly we stopped at munting.
Yeah, that's the extremist. But like most people, like even with like going to sex clubs, for Black people, that is still very taboo. We don't really do that. Or if we do go, if you've ever been to a sex party, club, or whatever, typically if it's not like a Black person hosting the event, it's more so Caucasian based. And usually when you go there, the Caucasians are typically butt ass naked. They real comfortable, no matter what size, whatever. They just free balling, titties hanging, whatever. With us, we tend to be more covered. Even if we just have like lingerie on, a robe or whatever, we are still very reserved, even at a place that's geared towards having sex. So
why do you think that is? Like, I know, like I've been to, I guess, what do you call it? A sex party, whatever that was. And so I did get to witness that, less militant people are more body positive and like less conscious of it. And then we are more reserved and we want to play, but we just kind of like, why do you think that is?
I think it's a cultural thing. I think it's I've been talking from a Southern standpoint. I don't know how Black people up north do, but down here, I think it's a Southern thing. It's a cultural thing. Because we still are even if we don't go to church currently, most of us have religious background roots. This is the Bible Belt South. Black people don't do certain things. White people have always been, more to be open and free and whatever. For us, we just culturally are just, I think, more reserved as a people, and it's just not something that we do. Like because I said it before, I was like, probably our generation is probably the first generation ever who openly talks about sucking dick in public. Our mamas weren't doing that. Definitely not our mamas won't either.
Yeah, I was reading an article prior to this, and it was talking about the sexual taboos for each generation and how for the millennials, we're a little bit more sexually open, but we're also the most masturbating generation, meaning self-pleasing because of all of the toys and learning your body. And that Gen Z is more non-sexual because they're all about emotions and connecting and, spirits and energy and all this other stuff. And I don't know how true that is, as that's not my generation. However, I do know for us, we are a little bit more self-pleasing and don't always require another party to fuck ourselves. So
Gen Z is what age group is that?
After us, they in college,
like the 20-year-olds, the 19-year-olds.
Yeah. So then, kind of think about like the show with Red Table Talk and Willow. She's a Gen Zer. She was talking about, she's in a poly, but she's never had sex with them. Like that kind of energy. So with that, let's say we have a millennial that, they're a little curious, and it's all kind of websites like Fet Life where you could try to go and see, what your kink is. And, you could just say, I'm not looking to play, I just want to learn. And they have all these different things. But let's say you're a little curious, you're super vanilla. And what that means in today's terms, you just have regular sex, maybe a little oral here and there. And that's kind of it. But if you want to kind of learn a little bit more, you want to expose yourself, what is like the easiest thing to do to kind of start exposing yourself to different things, to say, they say this is taboo and I probably won't ever talk to nobody about it, but this is how I can introduce myself to it. Other than, Pornhub and XX, I'm not trying to promote them because I'm not getting paid, but I'm just saying other than websites.
Either I say finding informational groups. So there's a lot of groups on Facebook, following people on Instagram, sites like Meetup people have various munches, and so what munches are is like meetups for people in different types of kinks. So it's like informational. You meet up, say you into let's say you're into rope play. Okay, so there's probably a rope play, a BDSM rope something in your city or near your city. So like Meetup, place like that, Fet Life as well. There's these people hold munches, and so like a munch is like a interest meeting, if you will. You come, you meet the people. They sometimes they hold them virtually. Sometimes they have them in person, like at a restaurant. You just come and mingle, and kind of feel your way into whatever they're talking about, the topic, and then you can decide if you want to go further when they have like private events, or you can go to as many munches as you want to. Those are good ways to figure out if this is something that you want to do or not. Or like I said, find Facebook groups, talk to different people who are into what you were trying to into. Like when I first started trying to figure out, explore, because it's okay, Kelsey. Technically, I'm vanilla too. It's fine.
That makes me feel so good.
Yeah, I mean, I know about a lot of stuff. I'm not doing it. But when I was like real vanilla, and I was looking into people who were like dominatrix. I have friends who were dominatrix. So like this was like probably 2014, 2015. So I asked her a lot of questions about what that life was, what it entailed. So I found out different stuff about her, and then she like gave me different different websites to look up, different groups. So I learned a lot about what that life was, and I was like, I don't think that's for me. But yeah, so just finding different people, different groups. That's how you get information.
So I have a question in regards to, for those who are new to the group, to the podcast. I actually ended up running into in the hair salon, just chatting, and it was a young lady. She's not young. Well, she's young. She's early 30s, a virgin, just got married. Her and her husband are married, and it was so cute. It was beautiful, actually. So of course, girl talk. How does this work? So Loudmouth was like, how do you know what you like if you've never test drove the car? And so my response was, she doesn't know what's good or bad because she has nothing to compare it to. And I think that with sexuality, you don't know what is a taboo and what you just like until you begin to get into a space where people discuss multiple variations of sex, right? Which brings me to my point with how do people get into the point of where does the starting point for people who want to have sexuality, exploring their sexual desires and getting into it, other than just going online and munches? Because some of these fetishes, you know.
So people say all the time, you don't know what you don't know with sex. You have to compare it to. That's not really true. When I lost my virginity, I was only having sex with one person. I knew that, and I was only having sex with him for 2 years. So for 2 years, it was one person I had done anything with, all the things. So I knew that it was something more to sex than this. I didn't really know what the more was, but I knew this right here can't be it. Like, I knew, like, nah, this ain't it, right? Even when you watch TV, you read stuff, and you hear all these things people say sex is supposed to be, and I had enough awareness to know that what people were saying, I was not getting. So you do know that even if you haven't had a plethora of partners, that something's quite off. So you can know that. So the question was, how do you explore? That was your question?
Yes. So in the sexual exploratory range, so we talk about these different taboos, but there are some like beginner level baby girl at the hair salon. She's just like, so the background conversation is, she was living in this luxury apartment, and she thinks that her neighbors were listening to her. And she said she had got embarrassed because it was some days you mandingo, some days you're not. And I guess that was a non-mandingo night. And she swears that she heard her neighbor say, dang, that was it. And so it was...
He should be embarrassed.
You're right. He the one that need to be embarrassed, not her. Like, oh shit.
But it was terrible because so then we go into the other young lady is like, well, how do you know what you like if you've never, and she's like, well, I felt like we were doing more because we're to the point where we're sucking, we're doing fellatio, I give head, and I was like, oh wow, like we're going up. And I'm like, I know that there's a whole nother spectrum of things, of people like blindfolding, gagging, tying me up, spitting in my mouth, all of these things. Now, Vanilla Bean Jean here ain't doing all that. So we have to get to the point of, how does one walk into that to explore? Like, do we bring in a sexual therapist like Sex with Ashley to say, Kelsey, you got to bend over like that and let him do this, or other than just reading it?
So like there's a list. It's called the yes, no, maybe list. And so on it has like different things that people can try. And so you can check yes, no, maybe, right? That's probably the easiest way to do that. And then y'all can compare. So like say on it is spanking, for example. So let's say I wrote no and I wrote maybe, right? And my partner wrote no. So then you can talk about why is yours maybe, why is yours yes, and all the other things. You can also talk about different fantasies. Everybody has fantasies of things they want to try, even if you've never done it before. So I say try all the things. That's my life goal, is try all the things, right? So I know what I don't like because I've tried a plethora of different shit. I know what I do like because I tried things like, I had a thing a couple years ago. They had electrical play. I never would have thought I would like that, because sounding, electrical play, that don't sound like a good time. But until I tried it, I was like, oh shit, now that's something I want to do regularly. Not like, every time I'm having sex, but I wouldn't mind doing it once a month or so. But you don't know what you don't know until you try it. So try all the shit. Do everything you think you want to do, try it. And hopefully you have a partner who's able to compromise with you and meet in the middle, whatever that middle is.
I have to say, like, electro play for me, because I was there with Ashley at this dungeon BDSM thing, And Kelsey, I see the old lady eyes rise up. It's not what you think it is. So basically it's an educational thing, or at least that's what it was set up to be. And they talk about what BDSM is and all of the different apparatuses that you use, and having safety words and knowing the safe parts of your body to touch and not touch. And then they went into these other things to talk about. So they pulled out electroplay. Now, let me tell you, you know how they tell you, now I don't have an addictive spirit, so I don't take a pill and be like, I'm chasing that pill. That's just not, that wasn't my sin ministry. However, when I experienced electroplay, baby's been chasing that drug ever since. It's different. It is not like what you think, like somebody's electrocuting you. It's very subtle. It's very sensual. And once you experience it, it is like, it's a game changer. And so for those who don't know me, I'm very sexual. But I don't like the looks from these people up here. I am a very sexual person.
Kendra needs to be doing what I do. Let's say that.
I'm going on mute now. Dang.
So I want to say, the whole thing about sexual taboos is that none of us can escape these shamey ideas about sexuality, right? Even if you grew up in the most liberal household, you're still exposed to what is happening in the popular culture, which then is giving us all these different messages around sex, like women should be sexy, but they shouldn't be sexual. Like men should always want sex and women probably don't want sex. Vibrators, they are addictive. Porn is addictive and that it can ruin your life. And then that gay men or gay people are just promiscuous. And so then there's like this never ending things that we hear that are not true. And we hear them all the time. And so when we talk about taboos, sex is taboo. And when you explore it freely, like it really puts you in that minority of people because folks are not exploring it. So like, yeah.
Like they're not, like, I'm sure, like me and Freddie and Kendra from the same hometown, right? So like for a long time there, the folks where we from was like just talking all types of cash shit about me. I was all types of this and all types of that, because I was talking about sex, and just from like, it wasn't even like, I was talking about my own personal experience, but just talking about sex in general out loud. And you don't do that. Like you don't do that. Like, I'm black. How dare I talk about sex out loud? And it was funny because now I've progressed over the years. I remember I was in college and I was talking to my friends, and it's true story. I remember I was talking to them. I was probably like 18 in freshman year. And I was like, how I would never suck dick. Like, we had a whole conversation. I was like, oh God, I'll never do that. Like, I was for real. Like, I was never going to suck dick. Like, at 18, I really believed that I was never going to do that. Or at least I was going to do it to my husband. Like, and by the end of that year, I was already sucking dick. Like, it didn't take long.
Freely.
God is good. God is so good. He's worthy to be praised.
But it's
what Rayford taught us. Rayford was like, you don't suck dick. Went to college and changed my whole life.
Well, it is a thing because, so in relation to Rayford, I'm from Fayetteville. So they're like right there. And sucking dick was for hoes. For real. Like, it was you did not, oh my God, you didn't want to be a hoe. When the truth is, you probably came from a long line of hoes long ago and didn't know. Okay, once upon a time, not long ago, I was a hoe. And I'm admitting it. But, so it was just, yes, dick sucking was, that was the naughtiest. Like, ooh, you naughty girl. And then, boom. But when I talked to the elder women in my family, they were like, oh, God, sucking dick. Don't let her drink out of none of the cups type situation, as if it sticks in your mouth. Like, it was just, it was a daunting change. So to ever think that, oh my God, if I can't suck dick, I sure ain't talking about putting it in the back door. It was just, and then it was also taught that, well, women who like anal play, their, or their husband or their partner acts that they have to be gay. It was always a shame when you move to the next thing. And So I think, oh yeah, I definitely said several times, I ain't never sucking dick. I ain't never doing it in a booty hole.
Sure said.
There are some things
everything I said I wasn't gonna do, I've done it several times.
But it's all been based in, I think, religion, right? Because wanting to have sex and exploring sex is not wrong. And people who want to explore beyond vanilla sex, and then people who engage in consensual kink or role play or pain play, it's like you have sex to make kids, and you should not get any pleasure from that. And I think that has been kind of like the thing with some religions, and you see it even with Mormons, the way that they engage in their marriages and how they get married to have kids, and it's not for pleasure. I think a lot of times we just need to really explore the reasons that we want what we want during sex, because we are lacking lots of information, and then we just feel alone. And what I'll tell you is that because it's something that's a taboo, which means we don't talk about it in the public circle. So the fact that we're going to put this on the internet and talk about it, somebody's going to see this and be like, ooh, they said the D word. Oh my God, they said the F word. And so you just didn't talk about those things, because if so, how many of your parents sat down and talked to you about sex, what it means to pleasure yourself, how to have good sex, how to do this and do that? Because we teach you everything else, but we can't teach you about your sexual life. You're just supposed to stumble around and find it. And as a Black gay man, I really didn't have any examples of what sex looked like. So what I had to do, I had to go to chat rooms. I was watching, X-rated stuff on the internet, reading, trying to figure out what that looked like, and then still did not engage in sexual intercourse until I was 21.
My mama asked me point blank period one day. She was like, how you know so much about sex? I hope it's not because you having it. Having all this sex. That's what she said. And I was like, okay. Like, like how you know so much about it? Like, why you talk about it all the time? Like, sister, let me tell you something. We are not the same. Not at all. Can we talk about this too? I think non-ethical monogamy, that's part of sex, and that is very taboo. Even with our generation, we know people are talking about it more, but there's a whole lot of people who are like, why are you gonna do that? Like, I ain't gonna do that. Or they do it, they're not vocal about it because of all the backlash and the negative comments that you get.
Yeah, because it's hard to explain it to people because they don't understand it, and it's getting rooted by what you were raised around. And when you said that ethics thing, it made me think about this book. I was trying to tell y'all about it in one of our other shows about The Ethical Slut, and it really talks about the rules around polygamy or polyamory rather, and open relationships. Because I was telling y'all that, I choose who I want to be in a relationship with, and I'm going to let you know that if I'm dating somebody else or having a sexual relationship with somebody else, that I'm going to tell you. And Kelsey was like, because she believed in that loyalty thing, and it's so far outside of what No, that's what you said. I'm quoting.
What I say?
You said, because y'all ain't. I think we were talking about Portia. We were talking about Portia and her little situation this week.
Because I'm a G, and it's just certain shit you can.
But that's what I'm saying though. When the way that you respond when me and Kendra be saying this stuff that you just can't even. You be like, nope, that ain't how my boat rocks. And it's like, well, this is. You might be the minority in the group, or we might be the minority of people that exist, but people do practice all kinds of things, whether it's sexual or relationships, that we have no idea. And so thankfully, people can record stuff on their phones and they can put it on the internet, and you can explore from the privacy of your home without being shamed until you find your community. Because I found the leather community and I was like, wow, this is interesting. And I've been invited to join, and it's a whole thing. Like, it's like a fraternity.
What is the leather community?
So when I first saw it, I just thought it was about men who like to wear leather and have sex. And so it's like a motorcycle club for the.
Wait, is this like what you had us watching the other night?
I didn't have you watching anything. What are you talking about?
Okay.
What are you talking about? Huh? What?
Okay.
I do like, I have a couple of little leather like harnesses, tops. They are very sexy enduring sex. I will say that.
So let me see.
I can talk about the video that I didn't see the other night.
You saw a video? What did you see in that video?
I want to move on. So
you saw a video somebody had on some leather and you were asking,
a full leather suit with just like a cutout for the mouth.
No, that's an apparatus. That doesn't, it just happened to be.
No, I'm saying the full leather suit, like literally.
No, so actually she's talking about the people who get vacuum sucked into those thin plastic suits and they only
okay.
That's not leather. That's I associate them with puppy play.
Yeah.
More so than leather. I'll send you a link to Onyx, which is one of the biggest, it's a kink.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, because I see granny eyes over here keep going up and down, I want to invite you to go to fetlife.com, and it has a list of all the kinks and what they actually mean. So that way you can get kind of up to speed, or you can use it as your sexual dictionary. So one of the taboos that I want to talk about that I discovered was one, it actually introduced us all to this through Netflix. Like a year or two ago, there's this series and they do these different stories. And one of them was that was very popular, and we were talking about it on social media, was the one where the guys, they were friends and they played video games together and eventually end up having virtual sex with each other through the video game.
Oh,
what show was that?
Black Mirror on Netflix.
Oh, I didn't watch Black Mirror. Okay.
So I didn't remember what it was called. I just know every episode was about a different story for somebody. And so this is actually a real thing. There's a virtual reality company that it kind of exists. It's called Naughty America, and it allows users to star in porn films while on adult sites. And there are entire sections dedicated to virtual reality inspired porn. And so you get to, you can find or create sexual partners without having to step outside of your door. And then they also make toys that go along with it that you can program to do things to you while you're in this virtual world. Now that is very new to me, other than outside of the time I saw it on Netflix, and I thought, that's interesting, not knowing that it was real, already existing in the world. So is that something y'all would try?
No. Oh. I like physical human touch, so no.
So Furley, is this public conversation, or this is just a note?
I've had an experience with a virtual reality sexual encounter.
Let's talk, let's chat.
Basically what happens is you have a device. I can't remember the name of the company right now. I should have it before we're over. And if not, I'll put it in the show notes. You have the toy. It has an app connected to it. You send somebody the link and they can control the device. And so it was first created for partners who are in long distance relationships or partners who travel. So you can still have some connection. And so like, if you've never explored like phone sex, you may not really understand like how strong of a bond that feeling can really be without the person being in the room. But adding that toy that your partner can control and do things to your body parts, it gives you an amazing kind of feeling and a connectedness. And so it's really good. I think it's called Love Sense or something like that. And they
the Love Sense, yeah.
Yeah. It's Lovence. LOVENSE. And so they have a number of toys that you can use, and they're pretty powerful.
I have one of their. Hold on, let me see this bit. Hold on a second.
So there's another company called it's called Cyber Skins. And it's a twerking realistic butt that comes with a VR set that provides a link between the motions you see on the screen and the movements of the toy itself. So, you know, for the men that like for it to be thrown back at them, you know, in your minds, because I've done VR, not sexual VR, but I've gone to a VR place here locally in Durham and taking my son, and it is real. Like, it feels real, like you're really in that environment. So then, like, you know, I think we did the boxing ring. If I actually felt that punch, I would feel like I'm really in this. So I think I can kind of connect it, but it's still so new to me.
Yeah. It's a great way to explore, and you know, for my friend Kelsey over there.
Well, I just have a so there is, I don't know, it's just so many that we just kind of like, wait a minute, take me slow. take me slow, because you know,
go that slow, honey. We
not that slow, but back to the what was it? The nautical. No, that was Naughty America. My bad, y'all. Just doing a little research so I don't get left behind. The ethical non-monogamy, like just the different things. But like, I don't think VR would be anything that I would ever be interested in. And not because it's just way too taboo, but because I just don't like video games. So I don't think it would keep my attention.
It's not a video game.
But just the fact that it's sex with myself because I'm watching a computer. Like, I didn't like it when I did the ski one. I didn't like that feeling. I'm like, okay, it just took me somewhere. It was not euphoric. It was very scary. So I don't think I could do it in a sexual realm, but I am interested in hearing more about the electrode thing. And not in a sense of, you know, hey, let's see, but like
what I'm buying y'all for anniversary.
I mean, that's something I have not heard of. But is it, because at first when they're like electroplay, in my mind, the way it works, I just saw jumper cables connected to my nipples and I was gonna get the shock of my life.
Oh my God.
So it's a probe. Like think like the probes you get like at the dentist office, like a little it's a probe. Okay, some of them is a probe, and they have different little heads, and it's a pack he puts on, or she, or whomever is the person who's doing it, put on, and the hand little probe is the thing that's going to be with the electricity. So they touch you on the place they touch you. It's the places that you're going to feel a little shock or whatever. And there's also one that where he puts on, or they put on, and his whole person becomes electrified, or whatever you want to say. So like, he uses his hands, his tongue, whatever, and whatever body part they touch is where you feel it.
Yeah.
So is it like running across the carpet and touching something else?
No, it don't feel like that.
No, it doesn't feel like that. So the way they taught it to me was like, not, especially if you've never done it, to immediately touch them, but kind of like graze and caress their skin. So you're going to feel like this like electric sensation, but it's not like a shock in the term of how we think of it. It's just very sensual, and I can explain it. I think it's something you should try at least once, but it's interesting. I loved it. So
do you sell these things in your boxes, Ashley, or how does one get
so I work for Love Honey, so I'm on their website now. They have a whole kit on here, lovehoney.com. I'm trying to find it. I saw it a while ago. I know it's on here somewhere.
So more into this realm of the electrifying piece, like what are the precautions? So am I not supposed to be moisturized?
I think Kelsey has found a kink. And we're going to get Kelsey a new kink here, electro play. And Kelsey's going to follow up with how that went.
Kelsey, I'm actually sending you the email with the link attached to it. So
Let's try it. So I'm open to seeing and, just seeing what it's about because I have a partner I can try it with. It's not like I'm out in these streets, and no shame to those who are out in the streets doing it with people. But at least if I say, nigga, stop, you shocking me too hard, he know to stop. Because once he lit up, I might have to mop up his face a little bit. But no, because I'm thinking like, is it, so anybody else did this when they were younger in science class when they tell you guys, like, what is it? The C charge batteries that have the different ports.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like they say, put your tongue on or put it on your nose and it zaps you a little bit. Is it like that? Or is it like, okay? Because, there's some people who love that into electroplay is like the beginning step before going to pain play, where some people like hooks and.
Well, you can control the level of intensity. So I don't like pain. I'm not a pain is pleasure person. So for me, it has to be on, so it has to be on the lower setting. I don't like pain. I don't have tattoos, piercings, none of that. 'Cause I don't do pain. So it has to be on the lower setting for me. But you can turn it up as high as you want to turn it up. That's a you thing.
Like jumpstart a battery, turn it up.
I mean, not give you a heart attack and kill you turned up, but I'm sure it's like body safe and heart safe. But you can turn it up as much as you want to.
Okay.
Well,
I sent it to your email, Kelsey too. Sorry.
So I'm looking at an article on Cosmopolitan called 10 Taboo Sex Acts That Are Perfectly Normal. And it says, when you stop thinking about things as being off limits, you might actually experience an orgasm.
Hello.
Because some people, I didn't realize, as a man, I can always achieve an orgasm. Like there's never not been a time, unless that was my goal to not have one, always had an orgasm. So when I started hearing people in their 40s have never had an orgasm, like it's what happens? Is it not the man doesn't know what to do to perform? Because this is in heterosexual relationships, so I'm assuming. But what is that? What is that about, Ashley?
It's typically the sex that you're getting. Typically, it's typically one or two things happens. You don't know what your spots are, so you can't communicate effectively to a partner, tell them what to do. So there's that. That's most of the time. And then two, you're with a partner, if he's male, that is just, let me do a little something, get you wet, and then stick it in. And that's not how orgasm works for women. Like it takes a woman somewhere between 30, 40 minutes to even get turned on most of the time. For most women, that's not the rule for all. But so you need to at least be doing something prior to sticking your penis in me for me to be a thing. And that's why heterosexual couples have the lowest orgasm rate, because lesbian couples is high, homosexual men is high. We are the ones who sleep with men,
Actually, do you think that could be contributed to so in my mind, when you say heterosexual, is it because there is this mythical saying that lesbians women know what to do to please each other, opposed to you bring in a guy who's out seeking his own sexual pleasure and a woman who's like, I'm looking for you to do these things. So that's why two are looking to do that.
Yep. That's what it is most of the time. I feel like men don't really understand female pleasure, and it's not their fault really, because female pleasure has been this new, it's this new concept in the last, let's say, 40 years, right? It's not really been a focal point. You've been having sex to have sex because your husband, or Freud said, to have kids or do whatever y'all do. Us catching a nut, it hasn't been a thing that's been talked about. So, there's that.
And then I also think that it's pretty low, because there are some people, when you think back to your first sexual orgasm, I equate it to being on a roller coaster. Leading up to the climax, you don't know what that feels like until you get over the hump. Oh my God, that was amazing. So I think that scary part where some people have not, they turn around at that point, or they've never made it to the point where they're climbing up the latter to say, all right, now when I get to the other side, because if you get a real good one, so some people immediately run out of gas. And if you did it right, you run out of gas, or they're like, oh my God, that was just so, I'm fired up and ready to go again.
That's true. Because I've done, last year I did the body sex class. So body sex is basically, it teaches women how to have orgasms. So I took the class just for research purposes because I know how to orgasm. But anyway, in the class, they talk about we masturbate and we do different other things as a class, right? And so like there are women in class who never had an orgasm, don't know how to have one. And when they get to a point where they're about to orgasm, they get scared and don't do it. These are people who are like 40, 50 years old. So that's true.
So whose responsibility is it to make you have an orgasm?
Yours.
So even if there are two people involved in a sexual act, you still need to know either what to do or tell your partner to do in order for you to arrive.
Yeah, it's yours. It's not your partner's job. It's your job.
See, I always thought it was like an exchange. And now, granted, if it is that I feel like you shorten me on the deal, I know how to get to it. But when Vanilla Jean here, checking in, when I'm into it, I think that my job is to get you to point B, and his job is to get me to point B, right? We both start at A, but we're just going to exchange the power of pleasing each other and getting each other to the final destination. That's how I exchange that.
I mean, they there to assist you, but like, I've never not had an orgasm in like the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years since I've been having sex.
Every intercourse.
Huh?
So you're saying orgasm every intercourse?
Yeah. Because we're not doing that. I'm going to tell you what I need you to do so we can, before I leave up out of here. You're going to do something. Like, you might not, like, I don't have orgasms hardly ever just with regular, this penetration by itself. So that's, but that's not probably ever going to happen. It happens sometimes, but not regularly. So but before we leave up out of here, I'm going to get something from this. So like, if you're not doing it, I'm going to be able to tell you what to do. So that way we both leave happy because we're not doing it.
So here's some other taboos that we came across, and we don't have to stay on these long, but one is period sex. So that's sex when you're on your menstrual cycle. It's a no for me, dog.
Wow.
If it's light, that's okay. If it's a heavy, no.
I don't do blood.
But you don't do coochie either, so.
Well, that's true.
No. Listen. There can be blood from other places.
That's true.
We just don't do. You don't never know. The gays be coming out with all different kind of scams when it comes to sex, and the biggest scam is creaming, and I think that stuff is wholly unnatural. And I think if you are actually creaming, and it's not friction created from lube, you need to go to your doctor. Because I don't think can you have an orgasm from your anal cavity?
Yes.
Yeah.
A man.
Yeah,
because prostate. I don't know if you're like gonna make like secretions and shit, but you can have like an orgasm from your anal.
What does that look like?
It comes out of your penis, from what I understand.
No. I'm saying not having an orgasm from your penis when you're being anally penetrated, but
it shouldn't look like anything.
No, it shouldn't look like anything.
Let me tell you that it is rampant on these streets, right? This is creaming my thing. It's like, no, that's like clearly that's lotion. That's some over left deposits that's coming out. Like it's a myriad of things. But people really like, that's a claim to fame, is that my anus is, yeah. And I'm like, that's disgusting. That's nasty. So if for us it's not blood, but it be these other things, and don't ever do that to me because it needs to be clean. We don't need nothing coming out of there. Okay.
Okay, what's number 2?
We talked about virtual sex. We talked about anal sex or booty play in general. A lot of guys, I think more so now, I think Kevin Gates has really talked about eating the groceries. You know, it's becoming more popular. And so when things come up on the mainstream, folks who've been doing stuff in their bedroom, they get to say, oh, well, I've been doing that and not everybody want to know. I'm like, you've been out here nasty this whole time, right? So that's that. Sex toys during sex. Just the wrong list. I want to go to this list where we first started. Okay, this list is about Ask Men, and it says almost all guys are into at least one of these 8 bedroom taboos. Are you? One was anal sex. And it's really about the pleasuring of the man's G-spot. And that, let me tell you, that can be amazing when I was doing those things. Period sex is on here again when women are in their menstrual cycle. The other one is cuckolding. The term cuckold refers to a man whose wife has committed adultery. He was pissed for being made a fool, and there was no fetish element to the act. But today, cuckold fetishes get off on being submissive, victimized by a woman's infidelity, and oftentimes thrive off the voyeuristic elements of adultery by discussing her sexual exploits or even watching the act himself.
Yes,
I know men who are into that. I know men that I know personally who like watching their wives have sex with other people.
And then there's another element to that too. When you start crossing like racial lines, there's this thing called cuckolding and breeding, or black bulls, and it's basically black men having sex with non-black women and having sex with them raw, and breeding them like a dog, meaning they ejaculate inside of them. And that's why it's called breeding.
I mean, I'm very familiar, honey.
So, yeah.
The next one is pegging. Pegging is when a woman straps on a dildo and penetrates her male partner in the anus. This does not happen between gay men, but is a sexual act reserved for heterosexuals.
No, I don't think I want to do that.
Well, it's not about
it's not, but you're saying
so. But why wouldn't you want to do that to your partner?
That's not a role I want to take. That's not a role I want to take. Like, that's not a position I want to assume. I don't.
Do you feel it would emasculate him?
It's emasculating me. Like, I'm too, like, I like tall men. It's not something I want to be in here trying to explain. I've been over now. Like, I don't want to do that. But I did want to. It's just too much. I think it's too much of a challenge. No.
Okay. The next one. Go ahead.
I do want to peg like someone, not my man per se, but I do want to peg just to have the experience.
Now there are some people I know some people who are into that risque thing, and they want people to do that to them, like doms. But I wanted to skirt back real quick to this breeding situation, the cuckolding. It's just, there are some terms that, we just bypass as if it is not, like, we put it in a sexual term like it's okay, but if we said that it out in the regular world, we're like, oh my God, that's racist as hell. Just like with forced orgasms, right?
So you do know that there are a lot of terms within the fetish kink life that, like slaves and masters, like all of that is in this underground life. So, cuckolding and breeding, that's not even the top of the iceberg, and we can't dig into that. We just have to accept what is as what is and just keep learning and moving on.
Because it is a subculture, so that's why it's not on TV at 7 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock. It's on the internet.
Right, and that is some people's kink. Like, there is slave play, there is little girl play, and like all kinds of stuff. Like, munching. It's a kink. It's nasty, but it is. So
And people dressing up as full big babies.
Yeah.
People who like to be squished by oversized large partners. Mm-hmm. It's a lot.
Like animals.
It's too much for the people.
Yeah.
So the next one is asphyxiation. There's no doctor recommended way to practice asphyxiation during sex or masturbation. It's high risk every time, and that is the appeal. So basically, I consider this, you see this is becoming more popular. I'm seeing in X-rated videos where people are like you're putting your...
So do they do it till they pass out, or?
I think it's really tacky, but some people like it because I think it cuts off their air and then they're also receiving this pleasure. I don't see where the pleasure factor is in it. I'd be like, don't touch me.
I like a little grip, but don't cut off my airway. Like
it don't do nothing for me. So
nothing. Not a damn thing. I've tried it. It's not my thing. But I know people who like to be choked, and like I don't. It turns me completely off. Don't do that.
Yeah, I will oblige you, but I'm not.
So Vanilla Jean tried it one time, but it scared me. It scared me, so I ain't doing it no more. Remember, it scared the shit out of me because I just heard it and I was like, choke me a little bit, and bitch, I think you choked me a little too hard, and shit could have went left. But I have friends who like to be choked where it's like they're heading into a blackout scene. And that's when the person, like, you got to have a lot of trust in that. And I was like, oh, child, you almost killed me, baby.
Okay. The next one is group sex. Group sex. It's really tricky. Depends for y'all. It just really depends on egos, what the rules are. For the gays, it's about the composition of who is willing to do what. And when it get beyond to three people is really tricky. I think you have to have an even number because somebody gonna get left out. And it's just uncomfortable. So you need to make sure everybody can have a partner and bring it to the table.
Okay, next.
All right, voyeur or exhibitionist.
I'm a voyeur.
Yeah, if you watch porn, you're a voyeur.
Yeah, I'm a voyeur. I like to watch people engage and do nothing. Just sit there.
And so the other one, we think about exhibitionists. You like an easy way is you leaving the blinds open and you live on the main street and people can see you, or you get caught, walking around the house, or y'all intentionally have sex on the balcony so your neighbors can see. Or there's some people who are even more bold. I think the most common form of it is sagging for me. And there are people who are really attracted to men sagging. There are lots of men who intentionally wear their short, thin clothing without underwear. If you look on the internet, you'll see guys always posting these gym things, or they're looking to be in the showers, to be caught. That's in the gay world. They'll be doing all kind of wild stuff. Or people just be going to the park to have sex. So you can go to jail, or you can be arrested. It is illegal to be exposed in the public, but that is the risk part of it that you do.
And you can also catch a pedophile charge as well. And I only know this because it almost happened to my brother. They were leaving the club and he had to pee really bad, peed in the parking deck, and had to get lawyers and everything. It was a big thing.
Wait a minute, we from the country. We used to pee outside all the time.
Right, but they were in, I think, Greensboro. Went to the club. He had to pee. I've peed in the parking lot before, just drinking.
How's it pedophilia though? Where the kids at?
Because he was exposing himself to the public. It was a big thing. You could talk to him about it later. And so now, I remember having him in the car with me one day and he's like, I gotta pee. And I was like, let me just pull over. He was like, hell no, take me to the store. He was yeah, it's trauma. So.
Oh wow, never look at peeing outside the same.
But the reason why that could be is in regards to, is it, unless the officer was just being an asshole, is it in a certain amount of distance of a place that children frequent? It could have went so
but it's
many
the club. Ways. It's at least after 10 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? That's interesting. That's in North Carolina?
Yeah, it happened in Greensboro.
Okay. The next one is they call this urologia. I'm saying this all wrong, but I call it water sports, and basically it involves piss. All right, somebody being a human toilet,
golden shower,
or watching somebody pee. So it could be you could just be peeing in the toilet and somebody want to watch you pee. So people get off on that.
So it doesn't mean it necessarily has to go on them. So
right, it just involves piss.
Oh, so not necessarily what people would say R. Kelly is doing or did.
Mm-hmm. R. Kelly. All right. The next one is gross sex. So this one says that sex that involves animals, feces, or urine may never make it to mainstream, but people are still doing it, and taboos will continue to be a part of our culture. Blah, 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 blah. Now, one that I was explaining to people, and I've been sharing this. So I was like, could you imagine that there would be something more gross than feces or shit play and piss play? And so I'm gonna ask Ashley, what do you think would be even worse than shit or piss?
Taking fluids from
munching.
Well, when it relates to bodily fluids, let me say that.
That ain't bodily fluids.
Remember, she explained it.
Oh yes.
Munching is the grossest you're gonna get. You can't top that for me.
So what about if I were to intentionally create snot out of my nose and the other person would suck it out my nose?
No, that's no. Like
that would be worse.
No. I don't do like the spitting. Like when people spit in their mouth, like spitting. Don't spit in my mouth. I don't like that either. I don't like anything with bodily fluids. Anything bodily fluids is nasty to me. So it's made me throw up. I'm good.
If you smoke or you got cotton mouth, why would you want to spit that dry spit in my mouth? Like that.
It depends on what you like. You know, what do you like?
People do that. I know people who like to spit.
I don't even like to pick my own baby's boogers. So I'm definitely not going to take your grown man boogers and snots. Now, I do enjoy picking them out, but like to put it, that nose Frida thing, where I have to put it in his nose and suck it out, even though I know there's a filter in there, there's a fear that it will shoot past the filter and hit me in my mouth. And this is the child that I birthed. I don't want to do it.
Well. Any last thoughts, Ashley, for people who are trying to explore their kinks and find new ways of pleasure? Or what sites you recommend, and what can they do to learn more?
I say explore all the shit and do everything. That way you can have a good idea of what you like and what you don't like. Because you can't say I don't like something if you've never done it. So at least try it, once, and then see if you like it or not. That's what I tell people.
Don't try that once.
Except for what?
Don't try munching once.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, I don't.
Is it munching or munting? Like
munting.
Yeah, I won't be exhuming a corpse to hump it and letting stuff splash out over me.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot, unless you own a morgue and you're breaking into morgues and humping.
And if I find out you're doing that to people dead loved ones,
I'm gonna sue you.
Yes, you're going to jail.
Yes.
Period.
Just like these people who scam the government with these PPP loans. All right. So, thank you all for listening and joining us on the We Probably Right podcast. Ashley, how can people connect with you on social media?
Oh, you can follow me on Instagram at Sex with Ashley.
Awesome sauce. And Ashley has this really great column with, is it Madame Noir?
Yeah, Madame Noir.
If you have questions that arose from this, you can always ask Ashley on her column.
Also, guys, until next time, don't forget to touch yourselves, feel yourselves, and love yourselves. And as always, we probably right. Thank you, family. Have a good day.
All right.
Have a good one, guys.